Everyone, hope you're all well, and thanks very much for all the support with my videos. I'm very grateful. Today I want to speak about the fallout from the European Union Asylum and Migration Pact, which passed last night in the Dáil by 79 votes to 72. Now, there was a number of TDs missing from this vote, which I'll speak about in a few minutes, but this has caused huge chaos in Ireland over the last number of years. The immigration chaos, all benefiting the rich, benefiting the wealthy, benefiting the big bosses, and benefiting the political establishment, who are more interested in bowing down to the interests of the bureaucrats in an office in Brussels than serving the interests of the ordinary people here in Ireland, who are suffering through chaotic policies, no public consultation or community consultation, serious lack of resources. We've seen the housing, health disaster, lack of GPs, huge implications for people in Irish society, pushing down and making the poor poorer while making the rich richer. And isn't that the way it works for the Irish political establishment? But in the context of the vote last night, this is going to have serious ramifications for our sovereignty, because it's going to cede all control of our borders to the European Union and be decided upon by a number of bureaucrats in their offices in Brussels. Now, this is stuff that could have been done already in terms of being carried out if there was a proper functioning policy in place. They said there's going to be better screening, faster processing, returns, and of course, which isn't going to happen. It's all wishy-washy, absolute spin of the highest order that's going to force more chaos onto Irish society in terms of more immigration chaos. But who benefits? As I've said, it's the rich, it's the big bosses benefiting from cheap labour as well. They're benefiting, pushing down conditions for ordinary working class people, while the rich in Irish society get wealthier off the backs of this, the commercial property owners as well. But again, it's €1 billion going to be put into this budget for the Migration Pact. Let's see where it goes. Probably more of a transfer of wealth towards the rich, no doubt. And again, there's no opt-out clause as well. And this comes on the back of a lot of stuff in Irish society, as I said, that could have been carried out already. It's a system that is completely not fit for purpose, under-resourced. And we can see the chaos here along the Grand Canal. The barricades all the way up as far as Harold's Cross Bridge, is about 2 miles up from here on Mount Street. And again, who's going to talk about this? Recently, the Waterways Ireland have said that €100,000 plus has been spent on tent removal and these fences and barricades along the banks of our lovely Grand Canal, which is creating huge issues for people who like to access this beautiful part and historic part of Dublin. But again, who cares about what people need? We're going to benefit the bureaucrats in Brussels rather than be interested in serving the people here in Dublin and across Ireland. But Waterways Ireland have said they're going to talk to stakeholders and elected officials around reinvigorating the Grand Canal recreation, activation and animation plan. Isn't that funny, isn't it? They've done next to nothing for years on reinvigorating this part of the Grand Canal in terms of opening up to community groups, a lot of communities and people in the area that could love to access this feature, and they've done next to nothing on doing this. And I've been contacting them on numerous occasions. Again, they haven't responded to try and open it out, but now they're trying to push this on now to claim they're going to reinvigorate the Grand Canal. Reinvigorate what? And add to the biodiversity? Well, there is grass there, isn't there? Just absolute lunacy and more spin. And they said they can't do this until October at the earliest of 2024, which is aimed to kind of protect the biodiversity and work towards architectural redesign and landscaping. So plenty of money, I'm sure, for a lot of friends of Waterways Ireland and the political establishment, I'm sure, will benefit from that. Many of them would have architecture and landscaping companies to benefit from this, rather than serving the needs of ordinary people. But as we can see, there's a few herons here that are getting good use out of the barricades. Maybe somebody's benefiting from these horrible barricades that are being brought up along the banks of our lovely Grand Canal. Now, as well, there's something very important, because obviously the European Union ceding our borders and our control to the bureaucrats in Brussels is going to have huge ramifications, and human rights concerns also as well. Because we've seen Brussels and bowing down to Brussels, how it's dealt with Ireland in the past with the bank bailout many years ago, where we saw the 1% of the population of Europe, which Ireland has, probably 2% by the time the bureaucrats in Brussels finish, probably 3%. But we were laboured with over 43% of the total banking debt. And the bankers were bailed out and the people were sold out through devastating austerity, devastating housing and homeless crisis, told us to stop building public housing as part of the conditions of the Troika bailout that led to the disaster we have now in Ireland. And not to mention the health chaos and all the other neoliberal policies that were forced down the throats of ordinary people who suffered and were devastated because of those austerity policies. But again, this is all forgotten about when we're speaking about the greatness of the European Union, or the media speaking about the greatness of the European Union, extolling the virtues of them over the next number of days. Today we had Simon Harris heading off to meet the European Council leaders, looking at trying to fast track the appointment of Ursula von der Leyen, or reappoint Ursula von der Leyen as European Commission President. And to say he's done a job for Brussels in Ireland by fast tracking through without any proper debate, scrutiny or consultation with the public on the EU Migration Pact, which is a huge ceding of Irish sovereignty. We need to bring power back to Ireland, and that starts from the ground up. It starts from grassroots. That's where real democracy starts and ends, in my view. Not to mention what's going to go on with this pact in terms of no cost, the financial contributions, the Solidarity Pact. And I wonder, was the Attorney General asked any questions on this? Or I'm sure their evidence won't be given to any public query or information or in the public realm. This won't be in the public domain if there was any advice given by the AG regarding signing into this pact. And there is a lot of claims that it is unconstitutional, which I would agree with. And Michael D. Higgins should refer to the Supreme Court. But of course, Michael D. Higgins, being a yes man for the establishment, will undoubtedly go along with what's being said by the political masters rather than stand up for the interests of people, or stand up for the interests of the Irish Constitution as well. But it's critically important that we work on self-determination of our borders and our policy as well, which is critically important, which is part of the Irish Constitution as well, which is critically important, and it can't be overstated, because we need the policies that serve the needs of people, not the bureaucrats in Brussels. We need to ask, what is the role of Dáil Éireann here in Ireland? Is there any need for Dáil Éireann anymore, because they've ceded so much of their sovereignty to the European Union? Over 70% of our legislation comes from the big lobbyists and the European Commission, and is transposed into Irish legislation as well. And Dáil Éireann has just become a Punch and Judy show rather than anything of any substance where real legislation or real lawmaking takes place. This is very important. And it's also important to refer back to what I was talking about earlier, the people and the TDs that didn't show up for this vote. As I've said, there was 151 voted. Other TDs didn't show up or bother voting. Aidan O'Riordan, surprise, surprise, from Labour, swanning off to the European Parliament, but is still currently a TD, didn't show up to vote. Duncan Smith, the Labour Party, didn't show up to vote. Jennifer Whitmore didn't vote. Joan Collins, Independence for Change, whatever that means, didn't show up to vote. John McGuinness of Fianna Fáil didn't vote either. Mary Lou McDonald, the leader of Sinn Féin, did not vote. Make of that what you will. And Joe Carey, a Fine Gael TD from Clare, didn't show up to vote. Josepha Madigan either didn't vote. This is just remarkable. So 8 TDs didn't vote. Obviously as well, the Ceann Comhairle didn't show up to vote either, because he was only asked to vote if there is a tie, and generally he votes with the status quo in the government. So many of these TDs didn't even show up to vote during this very important vote on Irish sovereignty, and it shows you where it ranks with those TDs. Absolutely just contempt for Irish democracy, which is absolutely disgraceful. But again, thanks so much for all the support of my videos, really appreciate it. We need to bring power back to Ireland, back to our communities, our towns, our villages, our cities, rural and urban part of our beautiful country. And it is critically important now. We need to stand up more than ever against the European Union and this road it's taken us on, and look for an alternative that puts the needs of people first, puts the needs of people here in Ireland first, and the resources of our country is used for the betterment of the people of our country, and are in control of the people of Ireland as well. So again, thanks for all the support with my videos, really appreciate it. Please press subscribe to my YouTube channel, I really appreciate it, and thanks to everybody who supported me so far, I'm very grateful. And from the lovely banks of the Grand Canal, I'll see you all soon. Slán, take care, bye bye.